Hello, Cinemaster lovers. Welcome back. I hope you're ready for an exciting experience because we've got something special for you today. Get comfortable, grab your snacks, and let's dive right into the action. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's get started. In the movie, it begins with Craven in a prison transport vehicle heading to a Russian prison. Upon arrival, he is placed in a cell with someone who dislikes sharing his space. This cellmate warns Craven that the longest anyone has lasted with him was a month before he killed them. Craven, however, assures him that he will only stay for 3 days at most. The cellmate laughs, as everyone sent to this prison usually receives a life sentence, but Craven remains unfazed and goes to sleep. The next morning, Craven trains in the prison yard using equipment belonging to the most powerful gang in the prison. When the gang members confront him and demand he stop, he ignores them. They attack him, but he overpowers them, lifting them with the barbell and knocking them out. The guards take Craven to the gang leader, who controls everything within the prison. The leader asks Craven if he knows who he is to dare act against his men. Surprisingly, Craven reveals that he does know him. He is Simeon Cherney, the leader of the Krav gang. As they talk, Craven discreetly takes a tiger fang displayed on the ground. Simeon becomes suspicious of how well Craven seems to know him and demands to know who he is. Craven reveals that he is not a hunter of animals, but a hunter of criminals like Simeon. Craven then attacks and kills Simeon's men with ease before confronting and killing Simeon himself. When a guard enters, Craven throws him from above and begins his escape from the prison. His movements mimic the skills of various animals, making him impossible for the guards to catch. His cellmate laughs, realizing Craven truly escaped within 3 days. Craven successfully escapes into a snowstorm where he encounters a wolf. The wolf initially seems ready to attack, but calms down upon seeing Craven, as if recognizing him. Craven then runs to a waiting plane, revealing that his imprisonment was part of a plan to eliminate Simeon. On the plane, Craven reflects on his past, 16 years earlier, when he was a child with his brother Dmitri and their father Nick. Nick informs them that their mother has committed suicide. Craven blames their father, accusing him of mistreating her, but Nick dismisses this, claiming she was mentally weak. Instead of holding a funeral, Nick takes them on a hunting trip to Tanzania to hunt Czar, the most dangerous lion in Africa. Nick intends to teach them how to hunt, but he focuses on Craven, seeing potential in him, while ignoring Dmitri, whom he considers cowardly. In Tanzania, we are introduced to a girl named Calypso, who lives with her grandmother, a powerful sorceress. In Tanzania, we are introduced to a girl named Calypso, who lives with her grandmother, a powerful sorceress. During a tarot reading, her grandmother predicts a painful event in Calypso's future that will result in great power. She gives Calypso a magical potion capable of saving someone from death. Meanwhile, Nick and his sons hunt various animals while searching for Czar. Nick encourages Craven to be brave and skilled, while Dmitri remains sidelined. The next day, they are joined by a man named Alexei, who tries to involve Nick in criminal activities. Nick mocks Alexei, calling him a coward and insignificant, and refuses to work with him. Later, Craven and Dmitri encounter Czar. Craven aims his rifle to protect his brother, but a moment of connection with the lion causes him to lower his weapon. Nick intervenes, shooting Czar, which enrages the lion. Czar attacks Craven, dragging him away as Nick and his men are unable to help. Calypso, meanwhile, hears Czar's roar and feels a connection. She sneaks away from her parents, following the sound until she finds Czar holding Craven. The lion looks at her as if asking for help. Calypso uses Czar's blood to save Craven. A drop of blood falls in Craven's body, leaving them and walks away. Calypso understands that this is the accident her grandmother foretold, giving him the magical potion her grandmother had given her. Craven is taken to a hospital where doctors lose hope of saving him. However, he miraculously recovers, his eyes now resembling Czar's. The next day, Craven finds the tarot card left by Calypso. Confused by their meaning, he heads home with his father and brother. At home, Craven finds a letter from his mother, urging him not to follow in his father's criminal footsteps, but to be a good man. His father dismisses this, calling Craven weak for not killing Czar and endangering everyone. To prove his point, Nick presents Czar's severed head, further angering Craven. Distraught, Craven retreats to his room, where he feels a connection with a falcon outside his window. He begins to sense a bond with animals and decides to leave his father's world behind. Craven gathers his belongings. He found the clothes that he was wearing during Czar's attack, including the magical potion. He realized that he lived because of this medicine, and he decided to escape at night. And when he was escaping, he was walking on the wall so that his father wouldn't notice him, but suddenly he fell. However, he was surprised that he is unscathed. He discovers that he gained superhuman abilities. He boards a ship to flee the country, heading to a campsite his mother used to visit. Along the way, he encounters a herd of buffalo. One buffalo protects him, reinforcing his mysterious connection with animals. Craven finally reaches the campsite, deciding to live there and embrace his bond with nature. We see him outside in the forest, and suddenly he discovers that he has an incredibly strong sense of hearing. His aiming accuracy also becomes very high and powerful. He spots a gazelle, chases it, and realizes that his speed has become extraordinary to the point where he can leap from very high places. He continues to discover more and more of his extraordinary powers while living in the forest. Suddenly, he hears gunfire, so he climbs a tree to understand what's happening. Using his strong vision and hearing abilities, he notices a gang killing buffaloes to take their horns and sell them. He descends from the tree and approaches them. However, when he arrives, he becomes enraged upon seeing all the buffaloes killed in such a manner. Suddenly, two hunters appear and threaten him, telling him that he's just a young man and should go back home. But he tells them that the forest is his home. He picks up a knife from the ground and takes down one of them, then finishes off the other. He begins to feel that this will be his role in life, to eliminate criminals. He decides to become a skilled hunter, as his father wanted, but instead of hunting animals, he will hunt criminal humans. We return to the present time, and Craven wakes up from his memories while on a plane. We see that he still has the lion card given to him by the girl who saved his life long ago. He disembarks from the plane and returns to the forest once again after completing his mission in prison. When he checks his phone, he finds a message from his brother Dimitri, who checks in on him and says he wants to see him on his birthday. Afterward, Craven goes to his mother's house in the forest, which is now fully equipped and where he lives his entire life. A few days later, we see an anonymous gang killing buffaloes and stealing their horns. However, as they are leaving the area, they are surprised to find Craven standing in their way. He asks them why they're doing this, but they mock him. One of them tells him that they outnumber him and have weapons, so it's best for him to step aside. They begin to drive their vehicles, but Craven skillfully moves under one of the cars, climbs up, and takes down the first two men. He then takes out the driver and the person next to him. The gang leader fires at him, but Craven dodges the bullets. The leader tries to escape in the car, but Craven had already seen the car's license plate. The gang leader heads to report to the main gang boss about what happened in the forest, but is shocked to find Craven already in his place, standing over the bloodied body of the boss, whom Craven had already eliminated. Craven asks the gang leader for his name, and once he confirms it, Craven takes him out as well and crosses his name off the list he carries. Craven leaves the office after finishing off the two remaining men. We shift to Calypso, whom is in a funeral, where is speaking proudly about her closest friend, who was a dedicated journalist. She talks about how her friend decided to expose Simone Charn, the leader of the Krav gang, but was killed for it. Craven is present and listening to her speech. After she finishes, he approaches her to offer his condolences. She doesn't recognize him at first, but he reminds her of who he is and shows her the card she gave him when she saved him long ago. She is shocked to realize that he is the boy she once rescued. He tells her that he has taken down Simone Charn, the leader of the Krav gang. When she later investigates, she finds news confirming Simone's death. She also discovers that there have been many similar crimes targeting different criminals, and people have started calling the mysterious figure responsible the Hunter. Some believe he is a legend, while others think it's all just stories and myths. Some even speculate that the killings are the work of a large gang trying to dominate the market. The next day, Craven meets with the woman again and reveals everything to her, explaining that he is the Hunter. He tells her that he gained his extraordinary powers on the day she saved him, and that he has a list of criminals he plans to hunt down and eliminate. He asks her, as a lawyer working for the country's top law firm, to help him obtain the names of the major gang leaders who are untouchable so he can deal with them. However, she warns him that this would make her a major crime boss. Meanwhile, one of the gang leader's assistants informs him that Simone has died in his cell and that the person responsible is the Hunter. The leader becomes angry because Simone was one of his key men. The assistant also tells him that the Hunter has a list of criminals' names and that if his name is on it, he is likely to be killed. However, the leader dismisses this warning and orders the assistant to gather Simone's three most dangerous men to take over his operations. The assistant complies, and the leader meets with the three men. He explains that they worked with Simone Charn and that the last one standing among them will be the new boss. They mock him, refusing to fight each other. To demonstrate his power, the leader removes a device connected to his body, causing his skin and appearance to change. One of the men panics and shoots at him, but the leader pulls the bullets out of his body and reattaches the device to return to his normal form. As the others prepare to shoot again, one of the leader's snipers takes out the man who fired. This leaves only two men, and the leader tells them he needs one of them to become the new boss. One of them quickly kills the other to claim the position. The leader declares him the new boss in Simone's place. We then shift to Nick's nightclub, where his son Dimitri is performing. The new boss who replaced Simone arrives, and Nick offers him protection and distribution services for a fee. The boss agrees without hesitation, which makes Nick suspicious. However, Nick manages to take down the gang and their men with the help of his men on land, though he is injured in the process. He becomes angry with his son for hiding during the gunfight instead of defending him. Meanwhile, the leader and his assistant learn that their mission failed and that Nick eliminated their men. The assistant also informs the leader that someone left a flash drive at his door. When the leader checks it, he finds surveillance footage from the prison where Craven escaped, and he learns that Craven is Nick's son and that he is the hunter. The leader orders his assistant to assign someone called the Foreigner to kill the hunter. The Foreigner begins his mission in prison, looking for any clues that might help him. A prison officer approaches him, but it becomes clear that the Foreigner has extraordinary powers. He removes his glasses, hypnotizes the officer magnetically, then disappears and reappears to easily take out the officer. We then see Craven in the city, climbing a tall building to surprise his brother on his birthday. He tells his brother that he will spend the entire day with him. At night, they head to the beach to celebrate the birthday. Their father arrives, and greets them, but Craven still struggles to reconcile with him due to their past. They exchange a reluctant handshake as the father tries to convince Craven to return to live with them and forget the past, but his efforts are in vain. After the celebration, Craven takes his brother home, but finds it difficult to sleep there because he is used to the quiet and simplicity of the forest, far from the noise and technology. So he goes down to sleep in the quiet, and in the morning, he goes up to greet his brother before he leaves, but he finds the place in disarray and blood on the bed. He discovers that a gang has kidnapped his brother. He gets angry, jumps quickly out of the building, and runs, but neither the car is fast nor the reason his brother was drugged with an injection. Craven uses his strength and skills, jumping from buildings, and indeed catches up to them. He tries to break the car window, but it is shatterproof. He clings onto it and manages to open part of the car, but the gang shoots at him, and he dodges. However, he falls off the car, and they continue on their way, reaching a location with a helicopter. They are surprised when they see him running toward them, grabbing a net and attaching it to the helicopter. He tries with all his strength to stop it, and when he ties it to the ground, someone shoots at him. He grabs a pipe, launches it, and hits him. The helicopter increases its speed and manages to release the net from the ground, but he jumps and clings to it until he crashes into a rescue point, and the helicopter escapes with Dimitri's brother. At that moment, Craven goes to Calypso and informs her that a gang kidnapped his brother and tells her about the marks he noticed on them. She starts making calls to find out more. We then move to Nikki's father, who contacts Craven to inform him that the gang sent Dimitri's finger and are demanding a ransom of 20 million. Craven tells him to pay to get him back, but Nikki refuses to pay, not because of the money, but because he doesn't want to appear weak. They argue, and Craven gets angry and leaves. Meanwhile, Calypso reaches someone who tells her that the one who kidnapped Dimitri is a man named Omar living in Turkey and gives her all the information about him. However, it is later revealed that he was working with the Foreigner and was lying to her. After achieving his goal and finishing him off, he contacts Alexei and informs him that the hunter is heading to Turkey. At that point, Alexei contacts Omar and tells him that the hunter is coming for him and orders him to finish him off. Indeed, as soon as Calypso tells Craven that the one who kidnapped his brother is named Omar and lives in Turkey, Craven starts moving toward him. He arrives and climbs the gang's headquarters building, taking them down one by one. They sense his presence, but he still manages to eliminate them and reaches their leader, Omar. He asks him about his brother, but Omar is shot at with a missile before he can respond. Before dying, Omar tells Craven that the one who kidnapped his brother is Alexei. Alexei's men believe Craven is dead due to the missile, so they take pictures to confirm his death. However, they are shocked to find him still alive, and he easily takes them down. He contacts Calypso and tells her that the one who gave her the information was working with them to set a trap for her, and that they will surely try to reach her now. He tells her a place to wait. While she's on the phone, she sees men coming toward her, so she quickly gathers her belongings from the office and escapes. The scene shifts to the Foreigner, observing the weapon Craven uses. The police, too, when they see him at the crime scene, are easily taken down. The scene shifts to Alexei, who is with Dimitri, telling him that people used to call him weak when he was young like him. But he found a doctor who made him a device that makes everyone respect and fear him. However, he can only transform into this being in critical times because the transformation causes him unbearable pain throughout his body. He offers Dimitri to become his partner once he takes over his father's business, but Dimitri refuses to betray his family, which angers Alexei greatly. The Foreigner interrupts to inform Alexei that he has located Craven due to the poison he uses in his weapon, derived from a rare plant that grows only in one forest in Russia, and he knows its location. The scene shifts to Craven meeting Calypso at the designated place. He takes her to his home, and suddenly, on the way, a tiger attacks them. But Craven manages to control it, revealing that they are just playing and are used to this. When they enter, Calypso explores Craven's house, sees all his weapons, and knows how to use them because she was trained on them during safari trips when she was young. She notices that he conducts many experiments on a particular plant and tells her that he has spent years trying to replicate the medicine that saved him when he was young but hasn't succeeded yet. He asks if she has more of it, but she says no and that it's all gone. Alexei and the Foreigner start moving toward Craven's location with many men. The Foreigner has a weapon with a tranquilizer that causes hallucinations and nightmares, completely paralyzing the body before killing. They make Dimitri call his brother Craven, and Alexei informs him that they are in his forest, offering him a partnership without harm if they work together. But Craven hangs up, signaling a declaration of war between them. Craven begins preparing with all his weapons, and Alexei also readies his men to eliminate Craven. Suddenly, Craven's tiger attacks them, taking down some of them. Dmitri takes advantage of the chaos to escape, but the foreigner notices him. Craven starts taking down Alexei's men one by one, eliminating some with traps he set in the forest. When Alexei hears his men's screams, he realizes he is losing and calls for a helicopter to fire missiles, setting the forest ablaze. Craven tries to avoid the fire. Calypso sees what is happening and decides to help him. While Craven is escaping the forest fire, the foreigner hits him with the tranquilizer, causing him to see hallucinations and nightmares, particularly of spiders due to Spider-Man. He imagines attacking the foreigner, but in reality, he is hitting a tree. Before the foreigner kills him, Calypso arrives and shoots an arrow at the foreigner, killing him. She rushes to Craven, who is dying, and gives him the magical medicine from her grandmother. He revives and tells her he knew she had more of the medicine. Alexei and the remaining men think Craven is dead, so they leave the forest, finding Dmitri on their way and taking him with them. However, as they are traveling, a herd of buffalo attacks their vehicles, forcing Alexei to use his device to avoid being affected by the collision. The buffalo herd destroys all of Alexei's men, and Craven arrives, starting an attack on Alexei. But Alexei has fully transformed, and the two fight fiercely. Alexei is much stronger than Craven and tries to finish him off using all means. But Craven couldn't kill him because Alexei is much stronger than him. Alexei was about to kill Craven, but Craven notices where the device is and hits him with an iron rod. This actually affects him and weakens him. Craven takes advantage of this and manages to tie him up with a big metal rope. He throws him into a herd of buffalo, and they all trample him. Craven approaches him before he dies and asks him who sent him the video of him escaping from prison. Alexei tells him that it was his father who sent the video. Craven is shocked when he finds out. At that moment, Alexei dies completely, and Craven finishes them all off and manages to save his brother. Later, we see him confronting his father about sending the video to Alexei. Nikki tells him that he definitely knew he was the hunter, even if he didn't live with him, because of his behavior, the way he killed people, and his fighting style. Nikki also tells him that Alexei was his biggest rival, and that he couldn't take him down on his own because Alexei's gang was larger and more dangerous than his. If he had told Craven to take him down, he would have refused. So, he made Alexei start the fight with Craven, knowing that Craven would finish him off. He made Alexei do this because of the video he sent him. Craven confronts him before leaving and tells him that he has been eliminating all the criminals and gangs except for him because he is his father. However, he still doesn't know how to deal with him and leaves. At that moment, Nikki hears the sound of a bear approaching him. He grabs his weapon but finds that the bullets are missing, and the bear kills him. We notice that Craven was the one who took the bullets from the weapon to kill his father. A year later, we find Dmitri in a bar, and Craven goes to wish him a happy birthday. Dmitri tells him that he started seeing a doctor to treat his fear. We learn that this doctor is the same one who treated Alexei. Craven notices that Dmitri has become involved with Russian gangs and has taken over all his father's work after his death. Craven leaves, but when he follows him, he discovers that Dmitri has gained superpowers, allowing him to transform into anyone he wants. We learn that he gained these powers because of the doctor. He explains that after Alexei and Nikki's father were gone, there were no gangs left in Russia, and he plans to become the first, largest, and most dangerous gang in Russia. Craven tells him that he won't let him do this. Dmitri responds, "If you can stop me, then stop me." From their conversation, we understand that this is the beginning of a war between them. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video. Goodbye.